Good morning, everyone. I'm Quinn Wisson from Vertical Measures, and I am here hosting VM's monthly webinar series. Today's webinar is titled 8 Ways to Optimize PPC Costs from Search to Purchase, and will be presented by our very own Keegan Brown. Keegan is a digital advertising analyst here at Vertical Measures, working on high-volume PPC ad campaigns for our clients. He develops, manages, and optimizes search engine marketing keywords, ads, and handles bid management to maximize return on spend. So before I hand off the presentation, I have just a couple of things to note. Today's webinar will be available for viewing by tomorrow, and I will go ahead and send out an email to everyone with a link to both the recording and the slides so you can review if you'd like. And we're also happy to answer any of your questions. So if you take a peek at your webinar interface, you will see a little question applet, and that is where you can type in questions for us to ask Keegan at the end of his presentation. Alternatively, you can also tweet us with the hashtag VMWebinar, and I'll also get them that way. If you have any technical problems, the best way to remedy that is just to sign out and then sign back in, and usually that fixes it. So I think that's all of my notes, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to our presenter, Keegan Brown.
Thank you, Quinn, and thank you everyone for joining us. I'm really excited to go over with this today with you guys. As Quinn said, I'm a digital advertising analyst here at Vertical Measures. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something that I'm constantly working on for my clients, and that is to lower their cost per lead. So whether you're a business owner trying to be more profitable, or you are working on a PPC campaign and trying to reach your client's goals, I hope I can give you some actionable items to implement and improve your ROI. So let's get started and go over a brief summary of what we're going to be learning today. First, we will be going over how to create a cost per lead goal for those that don't know how. This will help determine how cost effective your campaigns are and give you a baseline to hit and hopefully exceed after listening to this webinar. Next, we will be going over what I like to call a PPC sales cycle, which includes some basic but very critical practices to ensure the best chance to convert your website visitors. Then we will dive deep into 8 ways to optimize your campaigns and lower your cost per lead. These will be actionable items with a mix of data to analyze today and longer-term strategies for optimization. Finally, we'll finish up with how to project growth with your PPC campaigns. And just to note, today I'll be covering strategies to optimize specifically for AdWords. However, several are irrelevant to other ad networks such as Bing Ads. So creating an accurate cost per lead goal is crucial to the success and the ROI of your PPC campaigns. The process forces you to go through the sales cycle, close rate, and remind yourself of all the costs associated. To create your cost per lead goal, first, determine the revenue of the service or product that you're trying to sell. And if you have the numbers, the lifetime value of a customer is the most accurate. Next, determine the revenue to marketing cost ratio that is cost effective in your business. A simple way to calculate this is by seeing what percentage of your revenue is spent on marketing. Then, what is your current close rate for leads that are from your PPC campaigns? If you're new to digital advertising, you will have to assume similar close rates to other forms of internet or advertising leads. I specify the type of lead because lead quality from your website may be different than a lead coming from a conference or trade show. After having your revenue, margin, and close rate, you can calculate your cost per lead goal. As an example, let's say I sell e-commerce software and I know that the average revenue I will get from a successful web lead is $3,500. I typically spend about 10% of my revenue on marketing, and I know that my average close rate for leads from my PPC campaigns is 20%. By taking the $3,500 and multiplying by 10%, you get $350, which is your cost per acquisition goal. And that's how much you can spend to get a sale and still have that same 10-to-1 revenue to marketing cost ratio. Unfortunately, I don't close every lead, so I'll have to take the $350 and multiply by the 20% close rate, and that is how much your cost per lead should be. So 350 times 20% equals $70. To work backwards, if leads are $70 and I close 1 for every 5 leads, then I know my cost per acquisition is $350, which is 10% of the average revenue that I would expect from a sale. Now that you know your cost per lead, that is it cost effective, you can look at your PPC campaigns. Are you at your goal? Better or worse? If you have been running your campaigns for any significant amount of time, I would hope you're at least close. If not, then it is very important to follow along the rest of the way so you can ensure cost effectiveness in your campaigns. If you are close, or maybe even better, you're in luck. There's always room for improvement, and the more you decrease your cost per lead, the better the return on investment. So this is what I like to call sort of like a PPC sales cycle. When someone searches a keyword related to your business, you have little control over what description and landing page will show for your organic results. Fortunately, AdWords allows you to match a search query to specific ad copy as well as a specific landing page. The important part of this process is relevancy and consistency. So we start with the search query. We want our keywords targeted enough that they match the search queries well so that we can capture the correct intent from the searcher. Then using keywords, benefits, and a call to action, we capture the attention of the searcher and they click on our ad. That will direct the searcher to a designated landing page. This is where a lot of PPC campaigns struggle. A lot of ads will take you directly to companies' homepages or a non-specific landing page, which may work for some, but this will likely not be what the searcher was looking for, or possibly not relevant to what they searched for. Having landing pages that are consistent with the ad copy can make a significant improvement to your campaign. This includes headlines, locations, call to actions, from your search query all the way to your landing page. And lastly, there is the thank you page. No matter if you're offering a free quote or a free trial, the thank you page should be consistent and guide the new lead into the next steps of the sales process. A simple message saying, we will contact you within 48 hours to give you your free quote. Until then, check out this video or other piece of content on our site. This keeps them engaged with the brand until you follow up with them to set an appointment or make the sale. Now we'll be going over 8 ways to optimize. So the 8 ways that we'll be covering today are keyword match types, search queries, negative keywords, reducing your cost per click, ad copy, landing pages, campaign segmentation, and a new network. The first section of optimizing your keywords is match type. Now this is a great illustration on how different match types trigger ads based on search queries. Now, as I said before, we want to get our keywords to match queries as much as possible. Using the correct match type will help with that. I'm not sure that there's ever a time I would suggest just using broad match keywords. As you can see in this image, it shows that your keyword, formal shoes, can be triggered by several keywords that are not so relevant. Basically, any search query that includes shoes could trigger one of your ads. Modified broad means that a query will trigger an ad when all of the keywords with a plus sign in front of it are searched for, but in no particular order. Phrase match keywords only trigger ads when a keyword is searched for in a specific order, but it can have keywords before or after your phrase match keyword. For example, the phrase match keyword of formal shoes could be matched to search queries such as black formal shoes or formal shoes for women. Exact match is basically what it sounds like. It will only match exact queries with close variants, such as a missing letter, to trigger your ad. The next way to optimize your keywords is by analyzing search queries. Like I said in the previous slide, sometimes your keywords may be triggered by search queries that are not as relevant as you'd like. You can view these search queries and negate them. Also, if you find a search query that is relevant but just isn't cost effective, it may need to be negated as well. And lastly, if there's a search query that performs very well, then you can add that query as a keyword. This allows you to bid on that keyword specifically. The third way to optimize your keyword targeting is to add negative keywords. As in the last slide, negating search queries is a reactive solution, whereas adding negative keywords is usually more of a proactive solution. For example, when you launch your PPC campaign with the goal of driving more free trial signups, you don't want your ad to be triggered when someone is looking for a career at your company. Many campaigns start with negative keyword lists that include keywords such as cheap, jobs, careers, and several others. This is an easy way to eliminate wasted ad spend on keywords you don't want to show ads for. The last way to optimize your keywords is to lower your cost per click. For this example, I'd like to make a few assumptions. First, the budget is $200 per day, and there's enough search volume to consistently spend $200 per day. Next, assume position decreases proportionately with cost per click. Here we start out with getting 20 clicks at $10 cost per click and sitting in position 1 on average. We have a conversion rate of 10%, generating 2 leads at $100 per lead. If we drop cost per click to $6, we would get roughly 33 clicks a day and be in an average position of 3. Assuming conversion rate is equal, the campaigns would generate 3 leads at just under $67. And if we drop cost per click again, this time to $4, we would receive 50 clicks and have an average position of 4. Assuming conversion rate stays the same again, we would generate 5 leads at $40 cost per lead. With these assumptions, you could lower your cost per lead by $60 and increase your lead volume by 2.5, just by lowering your cost per click. The first step to optimizing ad copy is quality score. Quality score is determined by 3 primary metrics: click-through rate, ad relevance, and landing page relevance. Naturally, you can improve your quality score by increasing your click-through rate, improving the relevance of your ad to the audiences whom you most want to reach, and by improving the user experience on your landing page. When writing ad copy, you want to be clear, concise, and specific, including good callouts and the keywords that are relevant to the search query and keyword. This image shows the impact that quality score has on your cost per click. A quality score of 10, usually on very relevant keywords or most likely branded keywords, discounts your cost per click by 30%. So if your cost per click was $10 and you now have a quality score of 10, you would have your new cost per click would be $7. Now, quality score of 6 or lower starts to increase your cost per click. So the quality score of your keywords are very important. Now with ads, you can't just set them and forget them. It is important to constantly be testing them and improving them. You can do this with A/B testing your ad copy. Start by taking 2 similar ads in the same ad group and send them to the same landing page. Change the delivery options in the campaign settings to either rotate evenly or rotate indefinitely so that each ad is delivered equally. Then gather your data, enough to make an informed decision. Analyze your data and ask yourself which had the higher click-through rate, which had the higher conversion rate. Use these metrics to determine which ad copy won and start testing with a new variant. In this example, for best e-commerce software, the difference in the ads are the call to action between sign up today and get a free trial today. I would run these 2 ads side by side until I got enough data to make an informed decision to see which call to action, if any, had a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate, and move forward with new testing after that. Next is utilizing ad extensions. There are several ad extensions as I listed here, which are callout extensions, site link extensions, review, app, location, call, and structured snippets. But I gave you an example of site links and callouts. These are normally the easiest to implement and are easy to implement for almost any type of business or website. Callouts are added text that highlight what makes your website or business different, usually promotions and benefits. Site links give the searcher more links to click and to take to different landing pages. For example, in the men's Nike running shoes, if the searcher typed in men's Nike running shoes and got this ad, but they decided they wanted to look at women's apparel or a kids collection, they can go to those specific landing pages by clicking the site links. Now, the next section will be A/B testing landing pages. Implementing A/B testing for landing pages is very similar to testing ad copy. In this case, however, use 2 ads with identical copy in the same ad group and set the ads to direct to 2 different versions of your landing page. Within your campaign settings, again, you'll want to change ad rotation setting and select the third option, rotate evenly, or rotate indefinitely. You want to start out with landing pages that are optimized for conversions. Keep your landing pages simple and maintain the key goal of having your user take your intended action once they arrive on your site. Once you have gathered your data, analyze the results. Which had a higher conversion rate? Was it the one that had images of your products and services? Was it the one with a sales video, or the free trial, or sign up call to action? Take the winning page and test the new element and repeat. Now let's talk a little bit about conversion rate. A common misconception is that the only way to generate more leads is to get more traffic. In PPC, more traffic typically means more cost. Optimizing your landing pages for conversion rate is the best way to increase conversions at the same cost. To demonstrate, here's an example of someone who is spending $200 to get 200 clicks at $1 per click. With a 5% conversion rate, the campaigns will generate 10 leads at $20 per lead. If you wanted to double the leads, but don't increase conversion rate, you'll have to double the amount of clicks and ad spend. So with doubling ad spend to 400 and everything else staying constant, the campaigns will generate 20 leads at $20 per lead. Now let's take the first example again of spending $200, having a 5% conversion rate and getting 10 leads. Now if you wanted to double leads but didn't want to spend the extra budget, you decide you can double conversion rate to 10%. Spending the same $200 as before with a 10% conversion rate, you end up with double the leads and ultimately lowering your cost per lead goal, or your cost per lead. Now, doubling your conversion rate would be great, but probably isn't going to happen overnight. This is where constant landing page testing comes in. It is reasonable to expect a 30 to 40% increase in conversion rate in the first 2 to 3 months of landing page optimization. One of the ways to optimize your campaigns is by segmenting your campaigns by day of week. Basically, you look at the performance of each day and determine if there are any days that are significantly more or less cost effective and make bid adjustments accordingly. As you can see in this example, Mondays and Tuesdays have the highest conversion rates and the lowest cost per lead. We can also see that Thursday through Sundays have the much higher cost per leads. To balance out the cost per lead, what we can do is make a bid adjustment to offset those days. By offsetting bids by, let's say, 20% on those days, we can expect cost per click to decrease, and we can assume conversion rate stays the same. We would start to see lower cost per leads from these days. The next campaign segmentation is device segmentation. This allows you to look at where your most cost-effective leads come from. As you can tell in this example, desktops are slightly more cost-effective than mobile devices. What is interesting is that the tablets drive the lowest cost per lead. Unfortunately, AdWords does not let us make bid adjustments for tablets. In this situation, you could slightly offset mobile bids to decrease cost per lead and get a little bit closer to the cost per lead from desktops. The last campaign segmentation I wanted to talk to you about today is segmentation by location. AdWords allows you to segment your campaign performance from countries to states to neighborhoods. If you have a national campaign, you can segment by location to determine which states are most likely to convert. If you're running a statewide campaign, you can segment by city or neighborhood and use that data not only to make your PPC campaigns more cost effective, but this can help you with your other marketing efforts as well. In this example, you can see that leads coming from Scottsdale have been the most expensive, and that is the reason why there's a negative bid adjustment. All right, another great way to lower your cost per lead is to expand to Bing ads. We typically see similar conversion rates among clients who are advertising on AdWords and Bing, but Bing has lower click costs in almost every industry. This has allowed Bing to have an advantage of lower cost per leads. This next section, I would like to talk about projecting growth in your PPC campaigns. With your new cost per lead, you can make it simple to project growth. Assuming there is enough search traffic for your keywords you are targeting, you can increase your budget and feel comfortable with projections. For example, if your current cost per lead is $70 and you want to increase by 10 leads a month, you can increase your ad spend by $700. Assuming conversion rate is all is constant, you can expect roughly 10 more leads per month. Or, like from the previous example, increasing conversion rate would also help you project your growth. So what we learned today is how to create a cost per lead goal, how to stay cost effective, and what you need to spend to actually generate a sale. Then we talked about the PPC sales cycle, which is staying relevant and consistent from search query all the way to the thank you page and in between. We also learned 8 ways to lower your cost per lead, from analyzing search queries to lowering your cost per click, having the correct match types for your keywords, to ad copy and A/B testing, landing page A/B testing, conversion rate optimization, getting new networks. Last, we learned how to project growth, and that is quite simple, like I showed you before, by taking your cost per lead and multiplying that by how many you want to increase by each month, and that will give you your added budget for the next month. That is all I have for today. I want to thank everyone for their time. I'm going to turn it over to Quinn and answer any questions you may have.
Can you guys hear me okay now? Anyone? Hello? Okay, good. Thank you. I see some yeses rolling in. Okay, so Keegan, sorry, I had myself muted, of course. What's an example of a good landing page other than a home page? Now, Keegan, I can't hear you. Well, let's see if we can figure this out. I think, Keegan, you dropped out. I don't know if anyone else can hear him, but, oh. Okay, we're just going to get this back working, so just give us a second.
I'm here, Quinn.
Okay, so what's a good example of a landing page other than your home page?
So a good example of a landing page other than your home page would be to have it specific to the, like we talked about, having it specific to the search query and the ad copy and the keywords. So having a good call to action on the site that matches the ad copy. Relevant keywords, if someone's looking for a specific search query in a location, such as plumbing in Scottsdale, Arizona, you want to make sure that landing page has some sort of some sort of location-specific keywords on there, as well as obviously a lead form that they can fill out and get to the thank you page.
Awesome. And then a question from Kyle about the match types you were talking about is, how do you set up your keyword match type? Do you do it by adding each match type into one ad group or creating ad groups for each specific match type? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, so technically you can do it either way. What I find to work best is putting all the different match types in the same ad group. So if you have 10 unique keywords, I would maybe do modified broad, phrase match, and exact match keywords, and I would make each one of those 10 unique keywords and make them into those 3 match types, so coming out with 30 keywords maybe. Does that help or answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. If so, Kyle, go ahead and let us know. And we can always, yeah, he said yes, it did help.
Okay.
So another question about optimization, something that we didn't touch on too much, but how can competition affect or influence your optimization strategies?
Okay, competition can definitely impact your ad rank and your cost per click. So that is something that when you're typically spending your budget every day, that usually means there's some search volume and probably some competition. So really just looking at the data and seeing where your position is in the impressions, and being able to judge from there, like we talked about with lowering your cost per click. So you really want to be aware of that position you're in compared to your competition.
Gotcha. And then our last question, unless there's anyone else that wants to throw some our way, is, are there any instances when it makes sense to pay more or less than your cost per lead goal?
Yeah, definitely. So if you're running maybe several campaigns or just different ad groups, sometimes we see lead quality be a factor from different campaigns or ad groups. So let's say the lead quality from Scottsdale-based plumbing keywords, those are much more likely to convert than maybe people searching for plumbers in Mesa. So it depends on your close rate, and so if the Scottsdale plumbing keywords are converting at a much higher rate, you definitely would want to pay a little bit more for those, whereas if the keywords relating to Mesa plumbers was not converting as well as Scottsdale, you might want to pay a little bit less for those type of leads because they're less likely to actually turn into a sale.
Gotcha. And then more of a question about tools. Are there any third-party tools you use to help optimize campaigns, since you have to maybe manage multiple accounts with clients, or do you do everything manually for each account?
We do everything manually for the most part. We do a lot of bulk edits. We use the AdWords editor tool and the Bing editor to do bulk uploads. But otherwise, we do everything manually to really be specific and make sure everything's very specific to the keywords and again, that PPC sales cycle that we talked about, which really makes everything very specific from the search query all the way to the thank you page.
Great. And I know we could probably go on and on about this for a while. I did want to point out that Keegan just published a post earlier this week that was a lengthy, I think it was like 2,400 word blog post on how to reduce your cost per lead on our blog. So if anyone wants to follow up or dig deeper into this, you can go to our website and read that. I think that's all the time we have, but we've got this screen up here, verticalmeasures.com/webinars. So we do this every single month, a different webinar on a new topic. So next month, it's going to be December 17th, and it's going to be your New Year's resolution and how to boost website traffic by 97%. So that's going to be an SEO strategy webinar. But thank you, Keegan. Thanks so much. We really appreciate you stepping in to host this webinar for us. And thank you as well for everyone that came and listened too. So we appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Quinn, and thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thank you. We'll see everyone soon, and we'll send out an email with the follow-up recording and webinar slides tomorrow. So thanks.